Have you ever been online shopping for clothes and the pictures were really cute? They fit the model really well, so you order them, you're so excited, you get them, and it turns out that the pattern is completely different and it looks nothing like it did online. Just me? No? Does that happen to you too? Right? Okay, so now can you imagine if you were buying a house and you never saw that house in person and you just buy it and you show up and then you realize it's not what you expected? That would be terrible, right? Hi, I'm Sarah Mislowski with KeyPoint Homes Group, a real estate team in the Northeast Metro Atlanta area, and we specialize in helping clients relocate from all over the country and even the world here to Georgia. I think it would surprise you how many people have bought houses that they've never seen in person. That sounds really crazy, right? It blows my mind, and to me it's really risky, and yet we have helped people buy houses that have relocated to Georgia without ever seeing them in person, and the first time they see them is after they have signed on the dotted line. It makes my heart stop every single time. So we definitely consider that a risky move, but what other mistakes do people make when relocating to Georgia? All right, let's talk about buying that house that you've never actually seen in person. Like I mentioned, it is a pretty risky thing to do, and yet we've had it happen quite a few times. We've had those families that we have helped them purchase those houses where they've never actually stepped foot into that house until they actually bought it. Now, there are a couple of different scenarios on how this has happened in the past. A lot of time buyers will see a house pop up on the market and that is the house. It's the one, right? And because for the past 2 years, the real estate market has been so crazy, most people haven't had that due diligence period in their contract where they can cancel a contract for any reason. And so because we've had to make offers without due diligence periods, they didn't have time to get on a plane and fly out and see it in person. And so in order to make a competitive offer on that house, they would buy it sight unseen. Now, when we see sight unseen, that is still me, someone on my team, doing a fantastic, FaceTime video tour and doing all of that, but it is the reality of some of those situations. Now, the good news is that the market has begun to normalize. So we are seeing a return of those 5 to 7 day due diligence periods on accepted contracts, which was unheard of over these past couple of years. Now, we always have the conversation and recommend flying or driving down during that due diligence period so that you can actually lay eyes on the house. Not only lay eyes, but lay your nose and smells and all that kind of good thing on the house. Now, like I said, people that we've helped buy a house sight unseen, obviously we are doing video tours to show them what it's like being in the house. And we do our very best to give very, very detailed video tours. We are pointing out what it smells like. We're showing you cat scratches. We're showing you worn hardwood floors. Everything that we would want our family members to know if they were gonna buy the house, we try to point that out to you. But obviously we are not you. Now, in some scenarios, buyers will have family members that live in the area or nearby the area, and so we always encourage those family members to attend so that they can describe what they are seeing to you as a buyer. And again, we're going to try to do our best to tell you everything that we're seeing in the house, but chances are we've only known you for a few weeks or even a few hours, depending upon how much time we have spent together. So if you have that family member that is in town, or even a really close friend that you've known for years and years, and they know exactly what you like or don't like, they are going to have a different vantage point that they can help describe to you whenever you are considering this house. We love it when you have a family member or friend that we can show the house to you, for you, so that they can provide that other opinion to help you make a really great decision. But sometimes people are moving to an area where they absolutely know no one, and that's how this situation happens. So that's definitely a risky move to make, and it can be a mistake, but you know what is best for you, and you know your level of comfort when it comes to making those choices of buying a house sight unseen. Now, something even crazier than buying a house that you've never been in before would be buying a house in a state that you've never been in before or actually visited. That's right, we have people who will buy a home here or consider buying a home here, and they've never been to Georgia, or it's been tens of years since they've been here. Now, I get it. Our videos are pretty great, right? Yeah, we're doing a really great job of educating you, but nothing beats that in-person trip to get a feel for the town and see if this is something that you could actually live in. Sometimes, obviously, people have to relocate for work and they have to be within a certain mile radius of their new job, and they don't really have a choice of the matter of where they're living, or heck, if you've never been to that town, what does it matter? You have to be in that town, right? So they may not have much flexibility in what town they end up living in, but it's not uncommon for us to get phone calls from people who say that they drove through Georgia a couple years ago, they really liked it, and now they want to buy a house. Because of that, we always recommend that you do an exploratory trip. So that's a trip, spend the weekend, get the Airbnb, come down, drive around all the parts of town, and really try to immerse yourself in what it could be like living here. Many times people will call and say, where should I live? And well, that is a great question. There's a whole area that you can live in. In that process, what we do is we ask you questions about exactly what you need in a town. Do you have to be within a certain distance of a job? Do you want to be close to certain restaurants and shopping? Do you want to see your neighbors? Do you want to be in a neighborhood? Do you have an RV that you need to park? All of those things help give us some really good guidance on narrowing down that scope of where you would want to be. And then we provide you with those towns saying, hey, these are areas that you need to come check out. Come in person, drive around, and we frequently will help people set up those areas to tour when they're coming down for that exploratory trip before they like really pull the trigger and say, okay, yes, this is a place that we want to be and this is where we want to live. In fact, we recently had a great family that came down to our area on their way to the beach. Tacked this little exploratory trip onto their beach vacation to get a better idea of where they wanted to be. And in those conversations and talking with this potential new client, we were able to tell them, hey, no, go back and drive over in that town. You missed a lot of what you were looking for, and we really think that this is going to be the best place based upon those questions and answers that we gave you and that you gave us. And lo and behold, they went back and visited again, and they're like, yes, this is where we are going to want to be. So that is an ideal scenario, and really add that into your time budget to put that exploratory trip in. We can't recommend that enough, and you don't want to make the mistake of not having that, especially if you don't know where you want to be. All right, the next mistake that we see people make is putting themselves in a huge time crunch. We get phone calls from clients who say, hi, we just listed our house a few weeks ago. It's now under contract and I have 30 days to move to Georgia. Oh, and we're 10 days into that contract. And they'll tell us that they're not interested in renting and they just want to move directly into a home and they want to get the process started. It's very stressful, but it's not impossible. And we have had many people do this very thing, but it certainly makes it a very stressful process for you as a buyer. And we want to give you a very, very great experience relocating to Georgia, and we want you to be very happy throughout that process. Clients tend to have a tendency to kind of like throw caution to the wind when they are under a major time crunch, and they'll settle for a home that they don't truly love because they feel that pressure of knowing that they're about to be homeless in the state that they're relocating from. This virtually gives us hardly any time to go through an entire home search process for you. The standard transaction time period in the state of Georgia is 30 days, which means that we actually have to shorten the actual closing process and hope and work with a really great lender and closing attorneys that can smush that time frame together quickly if we don't have that full 30-day process. And it means that everyone needs to be on top of everything in order to pull off that timeline. That means that you have to make a very quick decision when it comes to the houses that you have in order to make an offer on and get it under contract. So that means that if you come for a house hunting trip and then 3 days later your dream house hits the market, you're already under contract on something, and that doesn't quite give you that time to really explore and give you that breathing room to really make a good, comfortable decision on a house that you are going to purchase. What we don't want you to do is be underneath all that stress and settle for something that you are trying just to make it work, and then you move into that house and you realize that you were just doing whatever you could to find a house, and that this isn't your dream house. We want you to be very happy whenever you make this move, and we want to welcome you to Georgia and have that be a really, really great experience for you. So one piece of good news for buyers that is going to help eliminate this mistake is that we are starting to see the market regulate a little bit more. We are seeing buyers get offers accepted with home to sell contingencies. And what this means, it means that we have a great safety net for you as a buyer into the contract that will allow you to terminate your contract. And so that gives you that safety net so that you have a little bit of breathing room. Of course, it is very desirable to line up the sale of your home in whatever state you're moving from with the purchase of your home here in Georgia. That way you can, transfer the funds, your proceeds from your sale into your purchase, and it just makes for a very seamless transaction. But in order for that to happen, and in order for that to be a very stress-free process, or less stress as possible process for you, we really need to work very, very closely with the listing agent of the house that you are selling and coordinate those time frames and the wording of the contract, and work very, very closely with each other to ensure a smooth transition for you as a buyer and into your relocation to your new home here in Georgia. So we are able to do that for you, and the best way that that works is whenever we are able to partner you with one of our partner agents that we have all across the country. We really want to make sure that you are in really great hands with someone super knowledgeable about the sale of your home and helping you relocate to Georgia. So the best scenarios are whenever our team can help partner you with that agent in your state and in your town, and that we and that agent, that we're working together to ensure a really great sale. If you're thinking about selling and you're putting those things into motion, we need to talk so that we can pair you with that excellent agent that we know that we can work together and make that be a smooth, easy transition process for you. All right, another mistake that we see often is clients forgetting about one of the most important parts of buying a house, and that is having a job to pay for that house. Now, the idea of moving can be very exciting, and you may have a very stable job that pretty much guarantees you employment anywhere in the US. Think nurses, doctors, teachers. There's a high demand everywhere, including right here in Georgia. That's not a surprise to you. So you know that you're going to be able to easily get a job in the new state or the new place that you want to go. However, unless you are buying that home with cash, or unless your significant other already has a job opportunity lined up in where you're going, or has a work from home opportunity where they can work remotely anywhere and they make a significant amount of money, you are going to, both people that are buying that house, or if it's just you are going to need employment lined up where you are moving to in order to get qualified and approved for that loan. So if you are currently working from home and you are remote workers, there's a lot of us out there right now, right? I said us, I don't work from home. Occasionally I do, but my husband works from home and there's dogs barking all the time, so that's not me. However, if you are someone that works from home and your employer is now kind of on that time frame of, yep, you're permanently working from home now, and we don't care where you work from home, you are going to need a letter from your employer stating that you have the freedom to live anywhere in the United States and your income is not going to change because of that. So what we have found is that we have some clients who are working from home and thought that they could do that from anywhere, but there was a caveat from their employer that sure, you can work from home, but you've got to work from home in this state. So you are going to want to make sure that if you are a remote worker, that your employer is okay with you working from Georgia, and that they are going to provide documentation stating, yes, this is what your income is, and we don't care if you work in Georgia. If you are needing to actually physically work in Georgia, you are going to want to have a job offer letter from your employer in Georgia if you haven't started that employment yet, or transfer paperwork or something that signifies that you have employment in Georgia and this is what your salary or your income is going to be, so that you can get qualified for that home. You don't have the luxury, unless you're paying cash or maybe have some really rich relatives that are helping you out, you don't have the luxury of just moving here and then finding the job. So make sure that you have that job opportunity, employment all secure before you start that process of getting approved and making plans to sell your current house and relocating here to Georgia. All right, and one of the last mistakes that we see people make is underestimating the cost of moving across the country. Y'all, it is expensive, especially if you're coming from California. Y'all need to sell your stuff. Just sell it all in California and then move to Georgia. don't bring the California stuff here. We've got great Georgia stuff here. Many people choose to relocate here because of the cost of living and because it's less than the state they are coming from. So New York, New Jersey, Florida, California, all of those. However, having everything you own driven across the country is not a cheap process. We are talking about tens of thousands of dollars. Get that quote before you think about packing up your entire house and having someone haul that across the country. It is not cheap. And the thought to leave all your furniture behind and buy new of everything that you get here, that's also kind of daunting, but sometimes that is the cheaper thing to do depending upon what you are wanting to move. You're more than likely going to want to paint or buy new appliances or have a few repairs that you're going to need to get done in your new house. And if you're spending all of your proceeds or all of the money that you have in savings just to get your things across the country, well, that's something that you're going to want to consider. One of the most important things that we can recommend to you is to do your research and come up with a game plan and logistics for how you're going to get that. How you're going to get your household contents here to Georgia. One of the most painful parts of this process that we have is that whenever we have buyers, they're under contract, they're excited, they've got their house that they're selling under contract, everything is working out perfectly, and then they get hit with that moving expense bill, and it is a double whammy for some of our buyers. So we don't want that to happen to you. So make sure that you consider those moving expenses in your plan for relocation. So if you are watching this video, you're off to a great start on the research side of things. This is exactly what you should be doing if you are considering making a move. We make these videos so that you can prepare ahead of time and make this as smooth of a process as possible. So if you're interested in moving to the Northeast Metro Atlanta area or anywhere in Georgia, give us a call and we will help come up with your perfect game plan for your move. And you need to check out this video if you are considering a move to Georgia.